holiday also known in the US as just a plain old regular day, because nobody celebrates it, takes it off, or even acknowledges its existence. Look around on May 1st and you're more likely to see people getting a head start on Cinco de Mayo or sleeping off the after effects of Arbor Day than actually celebrating May Day. This is a pity because May Day has a long and occasionally interesting history. To understand May Day, we first have to go back to the medium ancient Romans, who only had 4 months: January, April, November, and National Frozen Food Awareness Month. This was a problem for a couple reasons. First off, the year was only 122 days long, which meant that farmers had to harvest their crops before they were fully grown, and everyone was getting really tired of eating baby corn and baby peas and baby carrots. And secondly, they had to be aware of frozen food way too often. The Romans knew something had to be done, but they didn't know exactly what, until Emperor Julius Augustus Septemberus Octoberus Decemberus stepped in. He created 8 new months, named 5 after himself, and the other 3 he called February, because he liked to see people try to pronounce it, and May and June, because he owned stock in a greeting card company, and they're easy to rhyme. Incidentally, National Frozen Food Awareness Month was eventually renamed to March once refrigeration was invented and people could actually have frozen food instead of just being aware of it all the time. Now, May Day itself was not originally in May, and in fact it wasn't even originally called May Day. It was originally called Beltane, and it was invented by medium ancient pagans as a way to recruit liberal arts students from the local college. They spread the rumor that Beltane was this day of frenzied copulation with any creature or object capable of generating moisture. And of course, this attracted a lot of attention. Beltane was originally set for the 1st of June. That way they could get an entire year out of the new recruits before revealing that the copulation was actually just symbolic, and while there would be pole dancing, it wouldn't be the sort they were thinking of. Or the other sort they were thinking of. Beltane got the joking nickname May Day because it was supposedly the day when the hotter pagans would finally say, "Yes, you may." And of course the pagans in the know ended up calling it Maid Day, because if you were a maiden when it started, you'd still be one when it ended. And then some people called it Walpurgis Night because Walpurgis sounds like something dirty. This nickname, however, confused a lot of the new pagans, and come May 1st, they showed up at the designated Beltane area, freshly washed and carrying a knotted sheep's intestine. And in a spurt of irony, without the elder pagans to show them to the symbolic dancing pole, these confused new pagans ended up having the very orgy that they had been tricked into anticipating. Well, this May Day ended up being much more popular than the actual Beltane by several orders of gratitude, and eventually they had to change Beltane to May 1st just to keep up. Then the 1950s happened, and everybody forgot that sex existed for a while, and May Day returned to a day of just dressing up nice and dancing around a pole. Then the 1970s happened, and everyone realized that that was stupid, and May Day stopped being celebrated. And that's where we end up today. Incidentally, the emergency term May Day comes from the long-standing tradition that when your plane is crashing, you immediately have sex with the person sitting next to you. The emergency code was originally called "The Passengers Are All Boinking Each Other," but that was too long, so they changed it to May Day, which is shorter, and that's important when you're plummeting.